So if you join the military, you're becoming a person that is in service to the United States. You have to sign a contract. The contract is legally binding. So you become a member of the legal state that we talked about in some of the other videos. You go onto the federal land and you live there. Um, you're obligated to a number of years of service, and you are property of the United States. That means the United States, as a corporation or an agency, whatever you want to call it, is bound to protect you and provide for you. So this is sort of like going into a socialist kind of system, because if you've ever had anything to do with the military, or a military person, or you know anything about them and how it works, it's basically it's a social system. It's socialism limited to military. So a military enlistment contract is a legally binding agreement between a person and the military that outlines their service obligations. The contract includes the length of service, the type of service, and the job the person will hold in the military. So I was a jet engine mechanic. I worked on F-18 jet engines. So here are some things to know about military enlistment contracts. You have the length of service, you have military occupational specialty, the MOS, military occupational specialty. You have your obligations, your benefits, penalties, reenlistment rights, and individual ready reserve. So I did 4 years active duty and I did 4 years reserve duty. We can look at commissions a little later, but when we're talking about enlisting, you become in service to the United States, but you are loyal to the United States of America. And that's been the way it is, has been since the beginning. The first oaths that they had were stated in such a way that was, you are loyal to the United States of America, but you're in service to the United States. So we're here, we have Title 10 Armed Forces. We see it has an asterisk right here, and that means it's been enacted into positive law, and we can see the positive law citation. And what does that mean? That means that it's in accordance with the Constitution. It's constitutional. Um, and then of course, the Constitution has all kinds of stuff written in it about the federal military and national military. See, here's a positive law citation. Okay, so my point in this video is to make the statement that if you enlist in the service of the United States, you're under contract. You have to sign a contract, and you become property of the United States. You're given certain rights, you have obligations. If you leave before your contract is up, you're considered AWOL, absent without leave, and they have the right to come off of the federal military lands into the state lands and get you and bring you back. And that's, you know, the jurisdiction. So there's jurisdictions that people have relative to their relationships with each other. And so the state and the federal government has a relative jurisdiction according to um, what what people they're trying to administer laws for. So the federal government administers laws for the people contracted to serve, and then if those people come off the federal lands into the state and commit a crime, then they run back to the federal lands. The state has a right to go and retrieve them, because the contract does not allow crimes to be committed without standing for those crimes. So you have to uh, go to court in the state. Sometimes the state lets the federal government handles the issues, but for the most part, if a federal person commits a crime off federal lands and runs back to the federal lands, the state has reserved rights to go and serve uh, a warrant for their arrest or whatever, so that they can go get that person and bring them back to the state to stand for their crimes, stand in court for their crimes. But they're still considered a citizen of the United States, but the citizenship does not give you privileges in that you don't have to answer for any crimes you commit. So a federal person, this is kind of the same when a federal military post is erected on a foreign country. So the lands of a foreign country, the foreign country is going to reserve some of its rights over its citizens and some of its rights over federal citizens if a federal citizen commits a crime on the lands of this foreign country. Just all the contracts are maybe a little bit different. Okay, so military people, troops enlisted are contracted to serve. They can work their way up to non-commissioned officer. If they don't want to work their way up to the status of a non-commissioned officer, they can go in as a commissioned officer, but we'll get to that in another video.